Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for a wonderful climate literacy professional development that is being hosted by Ben from Subject to Climate, who once you realize, again, how much he has, the website and the organization has to offer, it'll be really amazing to see. And again, what's wonderful is he's telling me that he's going to do a very little kind of talking to you all, but it's going to be more of a time to explore and to really dive into the learning. But one thing though is, so this is going to be more kind of a general overview. The next PD that we have for next week, that you're all, again, if you signed up for this one, you're automatically signed up for that one as well. For that one is going to be more of a deep dive into the lessons, right? And kind of the structure of those lessons and what kind of like the specific details. You're going to kind of see one lesson and kind of learn the intricacies of it. Okay. All right. So once again, I'm going to make sure in the chat you have the sign in. But also, I'm also including for everybody who, in case you aren't already a part of the LAUSD Climate Literacy Schoology group, there's a direct link in the chat to join that group. The only thing you have to do is make sure that you're signed in to your LAUSD Schoology account. And once you are, then if you just click on that link, instead of having to type in the, all those, characters into the access code box, it'll take you directly to the join group page in Schoology, and it'll have the access code pre-populated for you there, okay? Making it super easy. The only thing is make sure that you are signed in, okay, to your Schoology account. And then also, please feel free to share that access code and that link with other staff members and your colleagues, okay? All right, we're going to get started. We want to make sure you have the full amount of time for this PD to really get a chance to explore and learn about all the amazing things that Subject to Climate has to offer. Okay. Ben, it's all yours.
All right, well, thank you all for being here with us today. So let me share my screen and present. So this session is Teaching Climate Change in All Subjects and Grades, Resources for All Educators. I want to just start by saying that everything I'm about to show you is 100% free. There's no account required. And the name of the game is we really want you to be able to implement climate change into what you already teach. Our organization is mostly teachers and ex-teachers, and so we understand how busy you all are and how much teachers have to do. And we just want it to be as easy as possible for you to teach about climate change in an exemplary way. So my name is Ben Charles. I'm the Director of Partnerships and Outreach for Subject to Climate. I grew up in New York. I currently live in Echo Park. I was a teacher for 1 year in Cambodia. I taught for 2 years in Bedford-Stuyvesant, that's in Brooklyn, and I taught for 6 years in Boyle Heights. And for the last 3 years, I've been working for Subject to Climate, mostly as middle school grade band coordinator, which means I oversaw all our original middle school lesson plans. But for the last few months, I've been doing partnerships. So today we're going to reflect on some challenges about teaching climate change. We're going to learn all about Subject to Climate and our many offerings. You're going to have a chance to explore Subject to Climate and find a resource that you can teach in your classroom tomorrow, next week. And you'll have an opportunity to share something that you found that you think you can teach. So let's start with a reflection. What are some challenges you think that teachers face when teaching about climate change? And if you want to speak, maybe you can raise your hand. And if you want to share in the chat, please share in the chat. So yeah, what are some challenges teachers face when teaching about climate change? Not enough time, not enough interactive lessons, engaging curriculum, prep time, of course, finding age-appropriate information. Yeah, how not to scare the little ones. We want to be mindful of the social emotional learning aspect and not just have a doom and gloom, but an empowerment to take action and to have some agency in their classroom, in their school, in their community. Yeah, making sure things are age appropriate, climate change fatigue. yeah, how to teach the little ones without scaring them. Thank you all for sharing. Yeah, how to make it interesting. Yeah, maybe a lack of resources, limited hands-on lessons. All right, these are all great. Thank you for sharing. So based on our research, we found a few reasons why teachers are not teaching about climate change, not too dissimilar from what you all shared. So maybe low teacher confidence. This can be a combination of maybe you don't know what's scientifically verifiable. Maybe you weren't taught about climate change when you were a student. Maybe you do know about climate change and you do feel comfortable teaching it, but you're the only one at your school and there's not that community of teachers to support you. So that's low teacher confidence, lack of time and resources. I've been a teacher. I work with teachers. I understand y'all are busy. There's not enough time in the day to do everything you're asked to do. Doesn't fit into curriculum. Maybe you have like a strict curriculum that you have to follow. And okay, how do I incorporate climate change into my, sixth grade math yearly sequence? I don't know how I do that. And maybe I like to say it's perceived as a controversial subject. Maybe there's some parents that have some issues. So Subject to Climate hopes to address all of these obstacles. Our mission is to empower all educators to easily and effectively teach about climate change, justice, and action. Our vision is a future where every child learns about climate change and becomes a steward of our planet. I'm going to tell you all about Subject to Climate. This is our core site, but we also have some state-specific sites. Currently, we have a site in New Jersey, Wisconsin, Oregon, Maine, and New York, and there's a Connecticut one coming soon. So I'm going to share, I'll give you a tour in a bit of the site, but right now I'm just going to give you an overview of the various offerings that we have. So we have a resource database. There is over 2,600 resources for all grade levels and subjects. And these are external. These are from like partner organizations and external organizations. Every resource is vetted and reviewed by a team of climate scientists, and then it also goes to an educator review to make sure that it's engaging. But everything you can verify has been viewed by and reviewed by a climate scientist. And then, yeah, content provided by a wide variety of leaders and innovators in climate change education. So we have stuff from NASA, from NOAA, from TED, from Our World in Data, and I'll go into more detail about this in a bit. We have original lesson plans. These are written by teachers. They're for teachers. They are like every teacher who's written these has gone through our training. So it's sort of a combination of like, it's teacher led and we really highlight teacher creativity, but it also goes through our process. So there are original lessons, but they are led by teachers who have gone through our professional development. They're all standards aligned. And we have a variety of lessons, units, and standalone activities. And I will talk more about these lessons in a bit. And also the next session will be an even deeper dive into these lessons. We have some professional development opportunities. I won't spend too much time today talking about these. We have teacher guides. I really love these. I will highlight a few teacher guides. The teacher guides are really like, if you're like, okay, there's so many resources, I don't know where to start. The teacher guides can sort of help direct you to those resources. We have news articles. This is in partnership with the Juice. And let's go right into it. I'm going to go into the site. I'm sorry, it's just a bit of me talking for a little bit longer, and then you'll have a chance to explore it on your own. All right, so here is our site, subjecttoclimate.org. You can find things on Explore, made by us as our lesson plans, external providers is our resource database. It's not that clear, but you can also find it here. So resource database is the first place I'm going to show you. This is the 2,600 resources. If you're looking for something about composting, if you're looking for something about food waste, about ocean acidification, about clothing, whatever you're looking for, you can search it. You can filter by grade level. You can filter by subject. We have all subjects. You can filter by resource type. So maybe you're looking for an outdoor activity, a game, a podcast, a video, a data set, whatever you're looking for, you can filter by resource type. You can filter by standards. You can filter by provider. So if you're looking for something from TED or American Red Cross, you can filter by, do we have time? No. Yeah, Nature Conservancy, the kids should see this. We have a ton of great providers. You can filter by location. So this might be a little bit annoying, but if you go North America, United States, USA West, California. We have 80 California-specific resources in the resource database. And then we also have languages. So if you're looking for, Spanish-specific resources, you can filter by language. And so let's say I am a middle school teacher. I teach math and I want a game. I have a awkward holiday schedule. I just want a game that will be engaging for my students. So these are the resources that are available to me. I can sort of look at the synopsis, get an idea, and I say, all right, let me check out the fish game. So then once I click into the resource card, I get a synopsis of the resource to tell me a little bit more about it. I get teaching tips and scientist notes. So teaching tips, what's great about the resource, additional prerequisites is what you or your students might need to know before you implement this resource into your classroom, and some differentiation options. And like I said, everything's reviewed by a scientist. So you get these scientist notes, aligned standards, a few other pieces of information. And then down here are, maybe this is not the resource for you. Here's some other related resources. And then to actually click into the resource, you click this button, View Resource, and that will take you to the actual fish game. All right, so this is our resource database. And the next thing I want to show you is our lessons by teachers. So you can get to that by right here, lessons by teachers, or up here if you click Made by Us. These are our original lessons. So similarly, you can search if you're looking for something about food waste or bees or whatever topic you're looking for, you can search sea level rise. Then you can also filter by grade level. You can filter by subject, by standards, and by resource type. We have unit plans, we have lesson plans, games, worksheets, read aloud guides, bundles, center stations, books, and curriculum planning guides. These are all math, if you're wondering. So let's say I am a K-2 teacher and I'm looking for an ELA lesson. Here are some lessons that are available to me. And if I click into it, I'm taken to the lesson plan page. So you get a synopsis. All our lessons follow this inquire, investigate, inspire format. They also all incorporate elements of student action, social emotional learning, and climate justice. Some lessons do it better than others, I'll be honest, but they all are put through this framework, through this rubric, making sure they incorporate social emotional learning, climate justice, and student action. And that's climate action, not just students being hands-on, taking action in your classroom, in your school, in your community. All right, so the lessons all have a lesson plan. This is teacher facing. So this is the document that's got the information and step-by-step guidance for you, the teacher. They also have accompanying materials. The teacher slideshow is maybe what you would project on your board as you're walking through the lesson, as you're teaching the lesson. I would recommend, if you want to see if a lesson is for you, to go to this accompanying materials, go to this teacher slideshow and just sort of skim through the teacher slideshow. And that'll give you a great idea of like, oh, I get what this lesson's about. I'm going to teach this one. And also all the materials are meant to be adjusted for you, for your classroom. You're the experts of your classroom. So make a copy of it, add what needs to be added, adjust anything for the context of your classroom, delete slides, make it appropriate for your classroom. We also include a student document. This is maybe the worksheet, what would be printed out or assigned on Google Classroom. This is a student-facing worksheet, and the teacher slideshow is a student-facing sort of presentation of the lesson. Not all lessons have a teacher document or teacher answer key, but many of them do. This is a teacher-facing document to give you more guidance. And many of our lessons, not all of them, have vocabulary cards. The lessons also come with teaching tips, aligned standards, and it looks like this lesson is part of a unit. So maybe you want to check out the other lessons in this unit. And lessons within units can usually be taught independently. You don't have to, you could teach this lesson as a standalone lesson. You don't have to teach the whole unit. And like this lesson's an hour and 20 minutes. Maybe it makes sense for your classroom to break this up into 3 class periods, 3 40-minute class periods. So that's really up to you and how you want to teach it, but we try to make it as accessible as possible. All right, this is the teacher guide. This is the lesson plans. The next thing I want to show you are the teacher guides. So maybe you're like, oh, so many resources. These lessons look awesome, but I don't know where to start. With the teacher guides, there's a math teacher guide, back to school, ELA, reading list. I'm going to go to all teacher guides because there's a few I want to highlight for you all. This one, 10 helpful resources for COP. This is if you want to teach COP in your classroom, you can teach a little bit what it is. There are 10 resources. They're aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals. This guide is for secondary teachers. So sorry, elementary teachers. We don't have a guide yet for COP29 and elementary. I also want to show you the one we did with the Red Cross for disaster preparedness. We want students to feel prepared and empowered if something were to happen. This was done in partnership with the American Red Cross. They have these amazing Prepare with Pedro resources. They're in English and in Spanish. This is mostly geared towards elementary, but there are some secondary resources as well, and some teaching tips, promote resilience, be prepared, set procedures, be honest and open, make it interactive. So this is the Red Cross Disaster Preparedness Guide. And the last guide I want to show you is the Food and Climate Guide. But there are a lot of great guides, so you might want to check them out. So the Food and Climate Change Guide, maybe you want to teach about food. This was done in partnership with a few other organizations. This one is differentiated by grade band. We have some teaching tips. Of course, respect different cultures, be mindful of food insecurity. You can integrate it into any subject, connect with the real world, encourage sustainability. But of course, that's going to look different in 9 to 12 and K to 2. So if you go to the 9 to 12 one, if you're a 9 to 12 teacher, I would really recommend this resource, the Urban Farmers Almanac. It's LA specific, and it's just a really beautifully done resource. And of course, K to 2, the resources are going to look different, maybe a lesson about where your food comes from and other suggestions. All right, these are our teacher guides. And I guess the last thing I'll show you before I give you a chance to explore on your own, if you want, I'm not going to go into it, but professional development opportunities are here. You can similarly filter and search for what is fitting for you. News for students. Maybe your students are interested in what's going on with the hurricanes and everything in Florida. So these are up-to-date news articles. If you click into them, you can differentiate them by grade level. You can assign them to Google Classroom. If you differentiate, the content does not change, just the reading level. There are vocabulary cards, and there are standards aligned questions. And let's say this was an article that was really interesting to your students. There's some related resources if you want to extend the learning. All right, thank you for bearing with me. That was a lot of me talking, but now I think it is time for you all to explore. So please go to subjecttoclimate.org, go to the resource database, the lessons, the teacher guides, filter, search, find something that you think you can teach in your classroom. And I'll also be here to answer any questions.